Okay, so listen. This episode was called All Aboard the Gaslight Express, but it really should have been called the Butt episode. It was booty, 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 booty everywhere. In this whole episode, I'm like, this is the Butt episode. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Real Housewives of Atlanta. This is episode 2 of season 14. Listen, we are off and running, doing what it is that we do this time of year. Y'all know what time it is. Like I said, this episode was titled All Aboard the Gaslight Express. Yeah, we talked about gaslighting and had a good kiki about gaslighting and a person that didn't even realize they were being gaslighted. But anyway, child, duh. But I just felt like it should have been called the Butt episode. And we're going to talk about that as we go through. Anyway, but let's start right here. Nine people in a house. We've seen the house. The house it's a big house. Yes, the house could definitely accommodate 9 people. What I'm talking about is Sonya. Over at Sonya and Ross's house, there are 9 people in the house. We got Sonya and Ross and their little boy. We got Sonya's mother and father. And we also have Sonya's sister Sherry and her husband and her 2 kids. All 9 of these people live in this house. It was their plan to stay together for 1 year, and then everybody will get their things in order, and everybody will go where it is that they are supposed to go. They're doing the family thing. Listen, it happens. I come from a family where some families have actually shared houses. Like my grandmother and her mother lived in the house together. It was my grandmother's house, but her mother stayed with her. But it was okay. This is the thing, though. And there were other family members who they kind of lived that way. It just always seems that way because when people get older, they tend to go with one of their children, kind of thing. But a lot of times in my family, there were sisters who, like aunts of my grandmother's, where all the sisters lived in the same house. It just is kind of like a family thing. Now, me, I ain't here for it. Me and my mom, that's something different. Mothers and sons that's, But women, there's only one queen to a house. Now, my mother and my grandmother, rather, and her mother, they did live in the same house. And my grandmother pretty much she cowered and she allowed her mother to just, do what she do. When you live like that and the women are closer in age, it's just not, it just don't work. There's one queen. That's my vision. One queen to a house. Women cannot inhabit a space, especially when you talk about having kids, having husbands. I got other family members where it does not work. It doesn't work. That was a whole different time. That was a different time. Like when my grandmother and her mother lived together, and my grandmother's cousins, and there were 3 sisters that all lived together. That was a different time. I just don't see it. I don't see women living in the house. There can only be one queen. There can only be one queen. And you were seeing a little bit of that going on right there in the house. Mama is touchy. When Sonya and Sherry was saying something, the mother was like, listen, I don't want nobody telling me what to do. I don't want nobody telling me. I was like, again, it's actually Sonya's house. So Sonya, and they were, Sonya was cowering. She wasn't trying to go there with her mother at all. Sherry was like, wait a minute. hold on, hold on. I was like, I know this thing too well. That women living in the house together. Mm-mm. Now, not unless everybody's going to cower down and let y'all figure out who's going to be the queen, and y'all cower down to it. But mm-mm. Grown people need their own space. They need their own space, and that's it. And I yeah. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I'm not the only other grown individual that I'm going to ever live in a house with is my mother. That's it. And I'm going to cower to her. That's just the way it is. Now, I actually spent time with my brother, a short period of time with my brother, and not a real big issue. You know, again, for males, I think it's a little bit different than female energy. Male energy is a little bit different. And then my situation with my brother, that's a little bit different too, because my energy is not the same type of male energy as his. And I'm the older brother. So, um, yeah, it's different. Our situation is different. My brother was completely fine with it. I was like, it's time for me to go. All grown people need their own space. It's time for me to go. My brother, if I would go back over there and stay at the house with my brother right now, my brother would be just as happy as he could be. My brother cared less. He's like, whatever, child. My brother can inhabit a little corner and be just as happy, and I have free reign of the whole house. And I literally did. It's a 3-bedroom house, and I literally have free reign of the whole damn house. Literally. I had shoes and stuff under his bed and clothes in his closet. My brother didn't care. My brother don't care. My brother's different. And when it comes to me, my brother lets me just run wild. So he just, but no, I just think that grown folks just need to have their own space. And, you do what you do. My mother, even when my mother lived, and her and my grandmother, when my grandmother had started getting older, the dynamic was off. The dynamic was off, and my mother cowered to her mother, but my grandmother demands cower. It just times have changed, people have changed. I think back in the day, it just was, it was just different. It was just different. I just don't see it. I just think that all women need to have their own space. They really do. Women need to have their own space. And I think it's easier for sons to cower to their mothers. And I think it's a little less easy for daughters to cower to their mothers, especially when it gets weird when there's mates too. And I don't, yeah, that gets weird. See, here we are. Okay. I might do a whole video on that thing. I think I might do a whole video on that thing because I got a lot of stories and people I know and family members, and I might do a whole video dedicated to that whole living together thing. Mm-mm. I'm glad they have a 1-year plan. I'm glad they have a 1-year plan. Ah, and adding mates, that's weird. That's weird. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on. I'm glad they got a 1-year plan. They're gonna be getting up out of there. The mom is the manager for Sonya, and her sister actually does her hair. So that's nice. You got all them on board, but them living together, they're gonna be butting heads. Anyway, moving on. Sheree and Kenya. Sheree and Kenya, Sheree and Kenya, Sheree and Kenya. Listen. Last time when Kenya was at Sheree's house, y'all remember when she snuck into the basement and the basement wasn't finished and it was a whole big old mess? Well, listen, the basement is finished now and it's fabulous. It is Chateau Sheree is fabulous, okay, over there. And it's really, really nice. Kenya gave her all her grace about it and told her, she said, girl, you did this. This is really good. It looks really good. Sheree was telling Kenya how, I'm liking you. I'm liking what you're bringing to the table at this point. I'm digging it. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, this is cute. Let's see how long this lasts. And then Sheree starts, she's the bone carrier. So we know what Sheree gives. We ain't got to be reintroduced to Sheree. She's back and she's right in her role, and she's literally training Sonya. Sonya. Sonya is the new bone carrier. That's all that it is, just like just like they said last week. Okay? So she's unloading everything that's been said, and she goes into that little situation about the borrowed truck of Lisa Ray's. Kenya said that is a lie. She don't even know Lisa Ray all like that, and that ain't nothing but some bull crap. They FaceTime Sonya. Sonya was like, yeah, girl, that's what they said, this, that, and the other. Then we moved on to the conversation about, oh, Anthony. Didn't I tell y'all we was going to talk about Anthony some more? I told y'all we were. And while we're actually on Anthony, later on in the program, we actually saw Anthony doing a workout with Drew over at Drew's house. And I got a question. Take a look at this. Anthony, is that butt real? You know you're in Atlanta. And I looked and I ran it back. He got the little frame, little flat stomach and things. And then I looked at that old butt. I said, that butt screams ATL to me. You all tell me in them comments, is that a real butt? Or is that a bump? I don't think that's real, but I said, now, Miss Anthony, girl, where you get that ass? It don't look real. It don't look real. I was like, that's a whole lot of ass, girl. But okay, I mean, it's cool. Go for it. But it stuck out, and Bravo made a, they shady. They made a point to show him going over to the side, doing whatever it was he was doing, and they got that little shot of him. I said, that butt, child. Anyway, old messy ass Anthony with the big ass, honey. Listen, Anthony comes up in a conversation. 3 years he was an assistant for Sheree. Sheree says, I didn't work with him that much. It was here and there. Well, it said that she owes him money still, and he's over at Drew's telling all of Sheree's business. And Sheree was like, well, wait a minute. So it's all one of these things of Drew told Candy, Candy told me, and she's like, well, Drew should have actually came right to me. Drew should have came right to me, and I'm going to talk to Drew about that. I was like, uh-oh. So a whole lot of, you know how this rolls. But we going around with the real issue is you need to go talk directly to Anthony. Because what is Anthony giving? That's part of the whole thing about being an assistant is that's one of the biggest issues. Assistants run around telling your business because they are right up on you. When you have assistants and hairdressers and things that are personal hairdressers, they're right up on you. You have to really trust them. And it really makes it bad for the whole group of folks. People be side-eyeing assistants and things because everybody's not shady like that. But that is definitely shady. But yeah, Anthony, I said we had not heard the end of Anthony. I knew there was going to be some more mess, honey. So, I don't know. How much of this do we believe? Do we believe Anthony's butt is real? I'm intrigued. Anthony, you got my nose open. I want to see what's going on. I want to know what you got going on. You got on my nerves real good in that last episode, doing too much. But I'm intrigued to know all the things that you've said and which things are true, which things they've added on to. It's interesting. You're interesting, baby. You're an interesting storyline. I hope it doesn't turn out too bad for you. Sounds like it might, but I'll be watching. Anyway, moving on. Let's go over to Drew and Ralph's house. Okay, so here we go. This was the whole gaslight thing. Drew and Ralph are over there. Here we go with the thing about the assistant. I'm not saying that we don't talk anymore. I'm just saying that we don't work together anymore. So that was like his thing with all of the stuff that happened. I fired her. I told you I fired her, but it doesn't matter whether you fired her. If you're still talking to her, Ralph, then the problem's not solved. Ralph is a whole mess. And I told you all, I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time playing around with Drew and Ralph. Ralph don't even like Drew, as far as I'm concerned. And from where I'm sitting from and I look, y'all can tell me in them comments if y'all feel different. I don't feel like Ralph even likes Drew. I just don't. I just don't. That is not the energy that I want if I'm going to have a relationship, and especially a marriage, and have children, and not nobody like Ralph. Ralph don't even seem to like Drew at all. She seems to get on his goddamn nerves. And he disrespects her at every turn. And when she says something, he snaps on her and embarrasses her like he don't realize there's cameras rolling. It's one thing to snap on her and talk down to her when it's just you and her. You realize that there are cameras everywhere. And for you to carry on the way you carry on, you couldn't possibly like her as much as people like people that they give rings to. It's just bullshit. Anyway, going on to what she looks like. He will not divulge what this girl looks like. And said, she's a 50-year-old woman. What does that mean, Ralph? I'm 50 too. I'm 50 as well. I am 50 as well. Child, listen, I ain't shriveled up. I don't look like no damn crypt keeper or nothing like that. And look around. 50-year-old black women, killing the game. Killing the game. I could name women over 50 right now. I could name 5 of them without even thinking hard that Drew, and this is going to be rude, y'all, but Drew's face couldn't compare to what their ass is bringing to the game. And that's, well, I can't even say that's no shade. Drew, that is shade. But I mean, 50-year-old women, melanated women, are killing the game now more than they ever have. 50-year-old men of a melanated nature, we kill the game. I could sit right here and name off 3 people like this that I got by 8 and 10 years that don't ever want a day of it. Get out of here. You know, 50 is the new goddamn 35. You better quit playing, talking that bullshit. But I'm like, she's 50. What did that mean? What did that mean? So he's just playing in her face. Go on over there and look at Sonya's mother. Sonya's mother is better looking than Sonya. And Sonya is totally physically fit in the whole 9 yards. But Sonya's mother is a baddie over there. It just is what it is. Cynthia. Y'all know that Drew didn't ever want a day of Cynthia Bailey. Not one day of Cynthia Bailey. Do you understand? Shall I go on? And I'm not trying to drag Drew too much. But when we're talking about 50-year-old women, stop playing. Stop playing. Most of these girls up on here, Drew don't want none of Sheree. Drew don't want a piece of Kenya. So what was it that you were saying about 50-year-old women again, bruh? Because each of those girls are close. They're close, if not over that mark. Drew don't want Candy. Drew. Let me move on because it wasn't my intention to drag Drew. Drew, I ain't sorry about it though. But I mean, I said what I said. But that little situation about 50-year-old women, baby, watch yourself. Anyway, moving on. You see when they were sitting there talking? There was a conversation later on. See, I'm jumping ahead. Ross, Todd, and Ralph all got together. And they're sitting there. And they had their little conversation. And you looking at Ross, fine. You looking at Ralph, fine. You looking at Todd, Todd is sharp too. Todd got them by 7, 8, 9 years. And Todd sit right at the table with y'all, not skipping a beat. Not skipping a beat. Todd could pull something just like y'all could pull something. Might yank something up off of y'all. You better watch yourself, honey. Talking about these folks, honey. Todd's 48 years old. Quit playing. Stop that playing. Anyway, moving on. Let me go back. Okay, so he never did give what the lady looked like, this, that, thing, and the other. Until they got over there talking to Todd and them was saying, yeah, that the lady, they started talking about her looks and said, you know, she was nice looking and she was built really, really well and stuff. So he's playing. So this is when the whole little situation about gaslight came on, and Drew said, you know, people have said that Ralph gaslights me. No, he don't. Now she's in her confessional, making herself look like an ass. When they said to her, the producer said, do you know what gaslighting means, Drew? Let me Google it. No, why do you need to Google it? Because they stated that Ralph gaslights you and you swore from your chest that he didn't. Are you telling me you don't even know what it means? She didn't. She didn't even know what it means. She just makes herself look foolish. And when she read the definition, she's like, oh, okay. So then they go out of that after we done laughed at you again. Because you always put yourself in a position for us to laugh at you, Drew. Then they go back to filming and they're like, he made a comment. Again, like he always does, something rude, make her look foolish. There's a lot of things I resent you for. And she's like, huh? He said, we'll talk about it later. Who in the hell says that to their wife in front of people? Who says that to their wife in front of people? And when I say people, the whole viewing audience and the camera running. There's a whole lot of things I resent you for. I keep telling y'all, it feels like he don't even like her. Love her? Yeah, right. He don't even seem to like the lady. Anyway, moving on. Let me get out of their house, child. They got on my nerves. Let me go over Candy's. Candy is now, she's a producer on a Broadway play called Thoughts of a Colored Man, and it's an all-black production on Broadway. So naturally, she's etching another little piece of history in there. Some mixed reviews, you know, but again, some good, some bad. That's everything in the world. You need some good and some bad to balance it out. We're speaking a little bit about their time apart. So we're trying to get into what the storyline is going to be for Todd and Candy. And it's some of their time apart is what we're looking at with them this season. Their time apart, you know, their vacation and separate. You know, she's working, and sometimes, you know, she's doing a lot of her acting and stuff, and other things like this. She's going to run back and forth to New York. So their time apart is going to be, they just got to figure out how to maneuver it, and that's fine. No real big deal. We just have to have some type of a storyline. But this ain't nothing that Todd and Candy can't work out. So ain't no real big issue. Ain't nothing to see here, folks. And then there's this whole subject of Todd's condo in New Jersey. It's this condo in New Jersey that he had when he was with an ex, but everything ended up falling on him. He paid it, and now it's actually his. He wants to share it with Candy, but Candy don't really want nothing to do with it. She's like, it's weird. He actually had it with someone else, just like he didn't want to move into the house that she had with somebody else, and they ended up getting the other house. And he's like, but my name ain't on this house, just like her name ain't on the condo in New Jersey. And he's like, whatever, that's different. I'm like, it really ain't even an issue, child. Give it to one of the kids. Give it to Riley. Give it to your daughter. Just whatever. Rent it out, which is what he's doing anyway. Again, we need a storyline to go along with what it is that we're doing. Nothing to see here, folks. No big deal. Let's move on. Nothing happening, really. Candy and Marlo had a little sit down. Candy was actually doing her Halloween shoot which if you remember back in October of last year, October of 2021, she did Wicked, the Green Witch from Wicked, and all of that, and really groovy. She was real done up. She really did a outstanding shoot for Halloween last year. But anyway, she's doing that. She's sitting down. Marlo is saying to Candy, she would like to have her boys be around like a whole rounded family, like a family that is really together and doing things, like they should do. And she said, basically like, you've never invited us over to the house and stuff, Candy. Now, when it came time for the boys' birthdays and stuff, you sent them cash apps and different things like that and little notes and stuff, but you don't invite us over to the house and stuff. And she's like, you're more than welcome to come over to the house and stuff, Marla, but we ain't been like that. When you first came to the show, we wasn't cool like that. And that's what she was saying, that she first met Marla. Marla used to date one of her cousins, and then she knew her. And then when she came onto the show, she was kind of shitty with Candy. So Candy's like, whatever. You know how Candy is. Candy don't forgive easy and quickly. So Candy was like, yeah, okay, girl, well, let me get this makeup off. I said, oh, shade, that is the shade of it all. So that was that. That was that. I was like, all right. Anyhow, moving on. So let me talk about the little meeting with Ross, Todd, and Ralph. Um, they basically, Todd was kind of calling Ralph out on the stuff, and Ross too. He's like, yeah, my wife was saying, what was going on about you and this assistant and all that. We didn't heard this from our wives, And I laughed at him literally trying to sell the story and trying to gaslight Todd and Ross the same way he does old Drew. They was like, "Are you serious right now? Don't do that to us, child. We ain't going for that bull crap, you know." And then in his confessional, he will say, Drew shouldn't have been looking through my phone anyway. That Ralph, child, Ralph is a piece of work. Should have been looking through my phone anyway. I mean, she shouldn't, but you should have nothing in there that she can't see. See how that works? Okay, so let's swing on over there to Marlo's house. We go over to Marlo's. Marlo's getting Michael, which is the oldest boy, together for homecoming. And we meet Justin and Ty. Justin and Ty are Marlo's managers. It's a husband and wife team. And they have been very hands-on with helping Marlo with the boys. More so Justin than Ty. And they were making fun of how the boys actually called Justin Uncle Justin, but they call Ty Ty. And they're just like, that's just kind of like, there was no real explanation for it. It's like, well, we just kind of call you Ty, And he's like Uncle Justin, but he's a little more on board, more hands-on with them because he's kind of playing like that male role for Marlo. He's standing in the gap. So that's where he's gotten his uncle thing from. So they, it's more personal things. They actually are coming to him, whereas they're not really running up on Ty with the personal stuff because they got Marlo. So definitely understandable. Definitely an asset. Ty didn't really have no real issue with it. She just like, it is what it is. Marlo's having a good time. She's having a good time and really focused on giving them the things that she didn't have. Like she was saying, I went to a prom once, but, I was in foster care and, how things were bad when she was with her mom. Her mom was, she abused drugs and stuff, and there was some physicality stuff, but she's like, I didn't have people waiting for me to come down the steps and taking pictures and cheer me on. She's just trying to give them all the things that she didn't have, which is cool. And it's kind of nice to watch because it's just as good for her as it is for them. Really is. Let's go on to this right here. Drew. So Drew had a special date. Ralph put together a special date for her, sent her a glam team, sent her a stylist. The stylist, I don't know. I was like, child, if you don't quit playing. And the glam team, she looked okay. Her makeup was cool. Her hair was okay. That stylist, that dress was a mess. That dress was a mess. It really did look like something that she was getting ready to go perform. And it was real, real extra, real, real costumey. This gold dress. And it was too little. It was too little. It was too short. It was way too short. I'm laughing at her as she's on her way to the place. Because, you know, they had the little guy, one of her little managers or assistants or whatever he is. He comes to pick her up and he's taking her and escorting her over to this place. Child, she's in the car talking about, I look like Beyonce right now. Now, Miss Drew, again, here you go saying stuff to make us laugh at you. You may feel, let me say that a little louder for those in the back of the cheap seats. You may feel like Beyonce right now, but you damn sure don't look like no damn Beyonce. If you don't stop playing, stop, Drew, stop. Stop it. Stop doing and saying stuff to make us clown you. Stop it. I look like Beyonce. No, you feel like Beyonce, and there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody have their Beyonce moments where they feel like Beyonce, but ain't nobody having no moments where they look like Beyonce. Stop that shit. Anyway, and this dress. Look, y'all think I'm lying? Take a look. Too short, and her damn cheeks was showing as she's walking up the steps. I said, what the? The stylist need to be given a refund. You need to be given a refund. I thought it looked horrible. I didn't like it. I thought it looked horrible. It looked very cheeky. No pun intended. Or was there? Anyway, moving on. A mess. Then they get in there and you get right into it. People don't like each other, child. It's a mess. He said, you know, what I found out when I'm talking to the my counselor, I gotta put me first. In what world does the husband put himself first? What world is that, Ralph? I don't know that world. I don't know the world where a husband puts himself first. God, and then me, and then my children, and then my wife. What world is that? See that right there? That's not the relationship for me. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. I don't know nothing about no stupidness like that. That's stupid. And Drew was sitting there looking like it was stupidness to her too. I was like, child. And then she said, well, I always feel like I'm walking on eggshells because you are. Because you are. She walks on eggshells around Ralph like she work at a bakery. She really does. And I'm like, child, we see it. And he told her, I'm going to schedule you a session with my counselor so you can learn how to speak to a man. And she said, well, I guess I have to schedule you something where you can learn how to speak to a woman. That's definite. And then right after that, she said, you the one, he started getting at it. She said, you're the one that said you want to send me so I can learn how to talk to you. And she said, the person you want to send me to, the man called you a maniac. He said you were a maniac, baby. When I tell you, that thing got so mad at her. She said, well, he said, do not touch me. I was like, these roles are totally reversed. Their roles are completely reversed. When it comes to Ralph and Drew, he got a whole bitch bag thing going on, and he's the one that is throwing a hissy fit and carrying on and needing all the consoling and all of that. Their roles are completely reversed. Completely reversed. He says all the stuff that's cut and, and then she swallows it. Their roles are reversed. Their roles are completely reversed. And then she gets to crying and gets up. He was just as unbothered. He was just as bothered. And when she came back, he wasn't even apologetic. He told her, doing stuff for you is just not the move. I just shouldn't have never did this. Just doing stuff for you is just not the move. I was like, wow. Wow. Again, y'all tell me what y'all think in them comments. I just feel like Ralph don't like Drew. And he made a comment earlier about, we're trying to get back from a place where we don't like each other. No, you don't like her. You don't like her. I believe she likes you. I believe she loves you. But you don't like her. And it's so apparent to me. You all tell me what y'all think. Listen, let me get on up out of here. And I'm going to see y'all next week, all right? I look like Beyonce right now. Girl, get on up out of here. Don't mess with me on this Mother's Day up on this Sunday, girl. Cut it out, Eddie!